Hello, I'm Attorney Todd Leneve. Welcome to West Virginia Gun Law. Today I wanted to take just a couple of minutes to speak with you about two pieces of legislation in the West Virginia Legislature that are either completed or making their way to completion that are big wins for the Second Amendment community. Stick around. So the West Virginia Legislature, among its routine busy schedule this year, has taken up two different pieces of legislation that impact directly on the Second Amendment community. The first one I want to talk about is House Bill 4782, which is also known as the Second Amendment Business Protection Act. This bill is aimed at preventing municipalities or counties from imposing added burdens on Second Amendment oriented businesses, such as a gun shop or a firearms training facility, anything related to the Second Amendment, compared to the requirements and burdens that are put on any other type of business. Most recently, there was a very high-profile instance of this up in the Morgantown city limits involving a gun shop that proposed to come in and open into the downtown district, received a ton of pushback from some activists in the local community who were able to take advantage of a sympathetic city council and city zoning officers and essentially create an impossible situation for this company to be able to open its business within the downtown district. Not only did they not end up opening in the downtown district, but they ended up not opening up at all, which is a big loss for the Second Amendment community, but even more so, it's a loss for the whole concept of free enterprise. And when we see businesses that are singled out like this, it's obviously a sign that we need to take a good hard look at what we're doing and why. And so this bill was championed by the West Virginia Citizens Defense League, a phenomenal grassroots organization that's very active here in this state and takes a close look at anything relating to an impact on the rights that we all enjoy under the Second Amendment. WVCDL took this issue, found sponsors who were willing to advance the legislation, and they've been able to push this one through. And as of today, which is February 19th, 2024, the bill is on the cusp of final passage. There was an amendment at one point while the bill was over in the Senate, and the Senate finished that up, voted in favor of it, sent it back to the House. The House just needs to concur on that one amendment, which actually improves some of the language, strengthens some of the language of the bill. And as soon as the House gets the opportunity to vote on that bill and accept the amendment, the legislation will be complete on that one, and that bill will be ready to be sent to the governor's desk for signature. Assuming that happens sometime this week, probably a 90-day period before passage, so likely sometime later this year. And once that's actually passed, we'll have a better idea of exactly what date it becomes effective. But that bill is on its way to completion successfully and will support the rights of those who want to engage in Second Amendment-oriented business activities anywhere in the state. They won't have to worry about what community they choose to do business in. The second bill, which has already completed legislation, is House Bill 5261. And this bill essentially introduced an amendment to legislation that went into effect a couple of years ago, removing the sales tax on the sale of firearms and ammunition in the state. Now, interestingly, at the time that original bill was passed into law, there was an omission that left out frames and receivers. So frames and receivers relate to the portion of a firearm, frames being on pistols, receivers being on handguns, the portion that houses the trigger group, firing pin assembly, various other components. And so those are the part that's regulated by the United States government as the actual firearm. And we tend to think of a firearm as the entire weapon, but in fact the part that's defined as the firearm is either that frame or the receiver. And so when the bill was originally passed a couple of years ago, the tax exemption did not apply to frames and receivers because they weren't included in the definitions of firearms that were covered as tax exempt. So this legislative session, 5261, was introduced to address this shortcoming in the original legislation. So that bill has passed, and what that now means is that you can purchase a frame or a receiver in their unfinished condition, meaning without the components that make it into an operational firearm, and still not have to pay a tax on that. So we're happy to see these two bits of legislation, one pass, the other one being on the verge of passing, probably within the next couple of days after this video is being filmed. And it's a great win for the Second Amendment community here in West Virginia overall. If you have any questions on these bills or what the legislation means, how it may impact you, feel free to get in touch with us. You can reach me through the website, which is linked in the description below, and I'll be happy to answer questions and make sure that you have the information that you need. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Be sure to click the like button on this video, share it with your friends, and engage in some comments down below so that we can boost the relevance of this with the algorithm on YouTube and make sure that we're getting the kind of coverage that we need, that people are seeing the video, and that we're getting the message out there. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us today. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Take care.